We open with the captain's log to tell us that they're off to meet with the children of Tama, who sent the Federation a message with a mathematical progression. Knowing what math nerds the Feddies are, this was viewed as an invitation, but there's still reason for concern, as the children of Tama were described in all previous meetings as incomprehensible, so presumably they're here hoping to take over the Federation's customer service operations.
For all we know, they could be threatening our border.
Everything in the previous account suggests a peaceable race. We have to start from there.
Agreed. I appreciate your prudence, Mr. Worf.
But let's avoid any more of your diplomatic security maneuvers. Not even number 38, especially number 38. We never did find the ambassador's false eye. At least number 7. Number 7 was specifically mentioned in the last interspecies treaty, and includes ducks, mice, and plums to thoroughly cover the matter. You are still permitted to do number 1. Nod politely. Yes, we encourage that one. May I headbutt them when I'm nodding? Only if you make it look like an accident. Can do. Picard is intrigued at the prospect of meeting these aliens, thinking that they can handle this without any problems.
In my experience, communication is a matter of patience, imagination. I would like to believe that these are qualities that we have in sufficient measure.
Sir? Sir?
Is the whole ship deaf? Sit down over there, young man.
Well, time for the big meeting.
Rai of Luwani. Luwani under 2 moons. Jiri of Umbaya. Umbaya of Crossroads. At Lunga. Lunga, her sky gray.
Right back at you, big guy. Well, Picard's certainly trained in diplomacy, so I'll check his academy records, and his language course was 203. Let me cross-check that. Oh, yes. He's fluent in yelling at people. This is the time-honored method of speaking your own language loudly and somewhat slowly to people who don't speak it in the hopes that they will suddenly understand you. The others just laugh at him.
Kadir beneath, Momata.
Denam, talking to the hand, the face not listening. They have a fervent argument, but the number 2 guy finally relents in the face of a superior argument. I mean, the captain's already played the Tama card.
Darmok and Gelad at Tanagra.
Oh, he's playing Clue. It was Darmok who did it to Gelad at Tanagra with the daggers. He and Picard are beamed down, and the Tamarian ship set up a plot thingy field to stop them from getting beamed back up again. Touchdown! Riker's not too happy with the situation, and nobody can help.
However, they have left sensor frequencies clear.
Then they'll be able to tell what's going on. Analysis, Mr. Worf. What the hell is going on?
Oh, now you want my opinion. That's always the way, isn't it? You smugly go about your ways, smirking at each other at the paranoid Klingon. Then when things go wrong, which they always do, you drop your tofu in horror and turn to me right at the time when it's become so powerful that all it does is kick my ass. So yes, Commander Jellyfish, I will sort this shit out for you, like I always do, and you can go back to sorting your tampons by their shade of pink. So yes, Worf is put into a shuttle and told to fly down and pick up Picard. Picard's tried talking to the captain, but the captain just tosses him a knife, so Picard tosses it back.
Shaka, when the walls fell.
Shaka indeed.
Whoa, language, Picard. Demonstrating that patience he has in ample supply, he gets frustrated with his inability to make fire and instead just stands around shivering until the other captain finally tosses him a log from his own fire. And Picard starts to understand a little bit of what he's saying.
Timber, his arms wide.
Temba's a dude, and his arms are wide to show that he's giving, or is doing the Y part of the YMCA song. Picard continues to show his mastery of yelling at foreigners as he thanks him for the gift.
Thank you. Thank you.
Meanwhile, Worf's finally heading down, but the Tamarian ship warms up its guns. To show his trust in Worf's piloting abilities, Riker doesn't just warn them, he actually tells them exactly what maneuvers he wants them to do. Talk about micromanaging. And then push the button lighting up red. The color of apples, Worf, using your left hand. That's the one where if you hold your hands up with your thumbs pointed, it makes the L shape. The shuttle's hit, but just enough to disable it rather than actually harming it, so they have to turn back. Worf's naturally pissed and figures now's the time that they've got to shoot the Tamarians.
Stalemate.
It's too much of a risk. take that course when it's the last one left.
I love Worf's "I'm too old for this shit" gesture there. He's going to turn into a real good old man someday. Fine, you want to let the captain die? You go right ahead. What do I know? I'm just the security chief. You know best. Riker puts Data in charge of trying to decode their language, and, just for a laugh, gives Troy the task of helping him.
All our technology and experience, our universal translator, our years in space, contact with more alien cultures than I can even remember.
Like 6. They replay the captain's rebuke, Darmok et Tanagra, and discover amongst their databases that a Darmok and Tanagra are both part of the cultural history of the same planet. So they're off. Back on the planet, Picard is awakened and begins another of his old Academy courses, poking through other people's stuff. The captain's journal could be useful. It's like my sketchbook, only he's forgotten to draw penises everywhere. The captain comes running up in a state, and Picard figures he's upset about the journal. Guess not. He's desperately trying to get Picard to take a knife, but Picard seems to still think, despite the fact that the guy's clearly panicked, that he wants to do battle with him. And it's not until the monster roars and causes a rock slide that Picard seems to get with the program. Worf picks up signs of the critter and the threat that it poses, so Riker demands that Geordi find a way to beam Picard up now. But Geordi doesn't have Reg Barclay's super brains this week. All he's got is Robin Leffler, Wesley's brief girlfriend in the game, played by Ashley Judd.
I know. We will have tipped our hand to the Tamarians. But that's the chance we have to take.
Agreed.
Too little, too late, but at least you're doing something finally, besides dripping smug all over my console. In the middle of all this, Picard has figured out the way the aliens communicate, by citing an example. The captain's overjoyed, right up until the monster strikes. But don't worry, Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra is not their version of Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. No. It's a reference to two opponents joining together against a common enemy and achieving victory, and through that, understanding and friendship. Together, the two of them will be able to... Oh, that's great. Nice one. While the alien captain's getting his ass kicked, Picard is stuck within the beam, thanks to that field. Well, Riker figures they should lower it, so, and I can't believe this, he hails the aliens again and tells them to lower it. Riker, have you not been paying attention? This guy is not dicking around with you. He does not know what you are saying any more than you know what he means. And so Picard winds up on the planet anyway, except with a hostile monster and his only ally mortally wounded. And to top things off, at the briefing, Geordi says that the aliens have deepened their field, so his actual plan, which Riker interfered with by ordering the premature beam out, won't work. Which means you've screwed that up about as bad as it could be screwed up. Thank you. Just pointing out the tactical situation, sir. And it's appreciated. You're like King Minos, except instead of turning to gold, it turns to rivers of diarrhea. You're in a bad mood today. I'm always in a bad mood. It's just you people are screwing this up so badly. It's like watching Data's cat fix a tire. Pathetic, bordering on ridiculous. At this point, the only option left is for me to shoot them. And you don't want that, but you get mad every time I show you it's the only answer. You just try some other stupid plan of yours that obviously won't work to give them more time to get ready to kick my ass when you finally tell me to handle it. You know what? Screw it. You want to shoot them? Just shut the hell up and go shoot them already, Worf. See if I care. Geordi, you help him. Make sure Lieutenant Commander Know-It-All doesn't hit the control with his erection and accidentally shoot the captain. I'm only ignoring that because you're finally doing something not obviously destined to fail. Try not to surrender to them before I'm done setting this up. The stuff on the ship serves as a B-plot tied into the A-plot, though it is the much weaker of the two. Riker doesn't seem like the guy who triumphed over the Borg a year earlier. He seems much more like a Season 1 or 2 Riker, impatient, hot-headed, and a lot of the episode is spent on their efforts to save Picard. Now, I do appreciate them eliminating the obvious questions. Why not just land a shuttle? Why aren't they trying to sort this out? But it's mostly just an irritating distraction from the much stronger story taking place on the planet. That's the late Paul Winfield under all that makeup, by the way. And except for when he opens his mouth, you'd never know it. It's that great of a job. And Winfield does an excellent job of having to act alien without seeming weird for the sake of weird. You don't know what his words mean, but you can get the gist as he mutters to himself his obvious irritation with Picard's seeming obtuseness. At the moment, Picard is getting him to explain the meaning as best he can, and from what we can gather, Darmok was a hero who traveled to an island where he met Jalad. The two were forced to work together against a beast of some kind, and when it was finished, they were now friends and left together.
And you knew from the tale of Darmok that a danger shared might sometimes bring two people together. Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra.
I'm going to talk about the language stuff more in the accompanying video. Picard is prompted by the captain to tell a story now, and of course, Patrick Stewart is no slouch in the acting department either. So even though he asks to tell it in very simple terms, because he's talking to a guy who won't understand much beyond the nouns and prepositions, he puts a lot into the tale of Gilgamesh, the story of two who had once battled each other becoming friends, and when they slayed a great threat, Gilgamesh's new friend is struck down, breaking his heart. Likewise, the alien captain soon dies, and the creature begins to move in, so it's time to let Worf do his thing. I thought you were just shooting the source of the problem. The ship is the source of the problem, so I shot the whole ship just to make the point clear. You know where that leaves me now? Yes. Riker, his face red, his dick flaccid. They get Picard back, and naturally the alien ship is firing back, damaging it so that they can't run. Looks like the only way left is for Worf to try to fire back, but it's not enough, and power is knocked offline.
Cinder! His face black, his eyes red.
I think he just referenced Yosemite Sam after sticking his head into an exploding cannon. Picard's on hand to try to calm him down, using what little he's figured out to explain that the captain's mission succeeded, but that he perished, and to beam his book back.
Tama, his arms open.
Timber. At rest.
Thank you.
Power has been restored, sir.
Firing phasers. No! Post-episode follow-up. Annoying character goes to the Beast for kicking Paul Winfield's ass. That was a real asshole-ish thing for it to do. Final score for Darmok is 9 out of 10. I know it's the top of the list for many when it comes to TNG, and while it is definitely an outstanding episode, there are still a few TNG episodes that in my opinion are better, and all scores are relative to the series. Some are a little bit better, they have the 10th spot. Darmok is one of the best 9s, but it is still a 9 in my opinion. Picard's close of this episode, reflecting upon the significance of one man willing to risk all just to try to make a connection, is a more powerful coda than just about all the ones we normally get. And his view out of the window as he repeats the captain's ritual while holding that knife is very potent. All in all, it does an excellent job of showing the crew encountering an inscrutable alien and needing to struggle with the most basic issue that the Universal Translator normally renders moot: to communicate. Without it, there was almost war. And that is a metaphor that's all too relevant.
Rai and Jerry at Lunga.